You know how many shots they had to take? Because we said, Bob, you got to pretend to sneeze. He goes, I don't know how to pretend to sneeze. I just sneeze. And so he was doing, and the camera, we were like, going, that looks stupid. And I go, so out of probably 100 photos we've taken of Bob, that was the best sneeze we could get out of him. And then we doctored him up. We put all sorts of stuff and a Band-Aid on it. And what it's saying is that if I sneeze or I'm sick and I prepare your food, so Bob, the chef over here, prepares the food, and I serve it to this nice girl who's all happy and everything, hours later, she's going to be sick. And we have X marks written on it. But if Bob here washes his hands properly, prepares the same food, serves the same little girl the salad, she's going to be a pretty happy little girl. We prevented it. These are the basic stuff that you have to do because the health is in your hands. We want to make sure that you have clean hands. So this is all the educational material that we have to produce. And this is actually produced by our inspectors. This isn't like we farm it out to a stage production company. This is actually that's produced by us, which just makes you pretty proud. When you look at it, we all laugh at Bob and stuff. I have to see him every day. But I laugh at him, like, achoo, Bob. And he goes, okay, cut it out, But we have a really, really good time producing this stuff. Here's one of my good friends, Robbie. Is in the black T-shirt with the black hat over there. He was funny because he got to pose on the toilet. I've never pictured Robbie like this, but Robbie's over here as a sick employee. He just threw up. He's not feeling too good. He went to work. Or does Robbie doesn't go to work? Okay, he stays home on the couch, but here he tries to battle through it, and instead, this little kid is not happy. He eats the sandwich that Robbie made and is sick. This one, you prevent a foodborne illness outbreak, and the child is happy and does not get sick. So it's important to tell employees, especially now, because it's so critical. We don't have sick pay, right, for some of our workers, and they're afraid not to go to work because if they go to work and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sick," what do you think happens to them? Their employer could fire them, say, "I don't believe you're sick" or anything. So some employees are so afraid to just stand up and say, I'm ill. And we tell people all the time, but it's very inconvenient for the managers. So managers are like going, oh yeah, we will never want our employees to work sick. But sometimes they do. We don't have, the adequate coverage for their health care that many of them have it. And they're afraid of not being able to, they're afraid of getting fired. So we have to really, really be aware of this. And we have to tell the employers, if you allow this person to work, it could be way worse for you because someone can sue you. So it's much better to actually thank the employee for not wanting to come to work that day and encourage them, don't come to work so you cannot get any of your customers sick. Let's see. So we have the powers to either exclude or restrict employees. So when we exclude an employee, we tell them that we prevent a person from working as a food employee. So what are some of the job duties they can do? We say, you know what, you're not feeling good, you're coughing, you got sniffles and everything, but I want to work, I gotta work. Okay, well, can you do janitorial duties? Sure, you're not working with food. So yeah, you can still get paid, we'll shift your duties. You're excluded from working with food, but we're not going to restrict you from even coming to work altogether. Does anyone know another job duty they could do? If you were working in a restaurant, what else could you do besides being a janitor? What do you see employees do in that restaurant? Waitress. You could do a waitress, or you could be the host, right? You could come up, you could cashier, as long as you're not handling food. Perfect. Okay, so restricted employees is limiting. So I'm sorry, restricting means I'm gonna put you in a job like this. Excluding means you can't come to work at all, okay? We're excluding you from the building. That's like serious stuff. You can't even go in and say hi to your friends. So look, all food is not going to be potentially hazardous, right? Some of the foods that are usually get refrigerated. So if you think of all your refrigerated foods, they're probably potentially hazardous. That's why they're refrigerated. Foods require food temperature control because they're capable of supporting progressive growth of bacteria. So what did I say before? You want to try to keep their numbers low, right? Bacteria low so you don't get sick. Well, potentially hazardous food have an ability because they've got a lot of protein in them and stuff that bacteria love to grow on. Okay, so I'm trying to try to keep them down. What are those foods? Any of the animal meats. Okay, so hamburger, chicken, fish, cooked vegetables. So I could have a zucchini sitting right there, and I just pulled it from the garden. It's in the dirt, but you're gonna do stuff like clean it and wash it and everything like that. So before that happens, that zucchini is perfectly fine. It doesn't need to be refrigerated or anything. But the minute I cut it up and cook it, I now have to watch for my temperature controls because I worry about bacteria that could possibly grow on it because I cut into it and I broke this protective skin of that vegetable. Raw sprouts, cut tomatoes, garlic and oil mixtures, any of the pasta, anything like these type of items are potentially hazardous. Or just think of it this way. You got to keep it hot or keep it cold. It probably is because of bacteria. Okay? What about cereal? How many put cereal in the refrigerator? I don't put cereal in my refrigerator. I'm not crazy like that. So why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I put cereal in my refrigerator? That's right. Plus, you can sit in my cupboard. It's so dry. You know, until I put the milk on it, that thing's never going to support bacteria growth, right? That cereal could stay there for a year. And it might become stale, but it's never ever going to grow pathogens or something, unless I dropped it on the floor. So.
Question.
Yeah. Question.
So, I don't know if you're disconnected, but where would you put ketchup? Fridge or?
That's an excellent question. We get that question a lot. You know why we get that question a lot? Yeah, ketchup. Why do we put ketchup? Do we put it in the fridge? Do we not? Because on the label, it says keep refrigerated after opening, right?
That's an argument. What does it say?
I know, it's like, follow the label. But you know what? Label is only for quality. So who made the bet? Did you, or if people arguing with you, you wanted to put it in the refrigerator, right?
Oh, that's like since I was younger.
Put it, and same with my house too. I mean, I freak out if the ketchup doesn't go in the refrigerator, but it's mostly for quality, right? Because if I leave that ketchup out, it's going to start turning a little bit weird color, like darker, and it starts separating a little bit because it's an emulsification, right? They take that whole tomato and they grind everything up, and there's some oils in it, and sugar and everything. Well, it starts separating if you keep it out of refrigeration. But it doesn't, it's not going to be harmful because the tomato is so acidic that bacteria is not going to grow in it. It's got vinegar and all sorts of stuff in there to prevent it. So the worst thing you can do is look ugly. Plus, I like cold, dipping hot French fries in the kitchen. Okay, but that's a great question. It's a very good question. A lot of people have a real problem with understanding that. Like, I know some people put peanut butter in the refrigerator. I don't put peanut butter in the refrigerator. I can never get, if I stuck a knife into it and it was that cold, I would never be able to scoop it. Put it on bread, I'd tear the bread apart. I want some, layer on there nice and smooth. Trust me, you guys, I'm a food expert. Right? I eat a lot of food. So you gotta love food to work in the health department too. So try to keep our hot foods hot, our cold foods cold. Common sense, right? We're gonna keep something cold, keep it cold. The danger zone is this area where the bacteria love to grow. And that's between 41 degrees, about the temperature of your refrigerator. Refrigerator is a little bit colder, and a steam table. Okay, so the steam table is going to maintain that food, so we're going to keep the bacteria low. And the bacteria do not like to grow in this zone. They don't like to grow here. They don't like to grow here, but they love to grow right here in the danger zone. Okay, the bacteria just love to grow. And guess what? The most pathogenic bacteria, the worst bacteria you can get, if you had to take a guess at what temperature they love to grow at, the ones that are harmful to human beings, what temperature would you guess is the worst for bacteria? If I had to maintain a temperature, this would be the worst temperature to keep. What do you think it is? You know it's somewhere between 41 degrees and 135. Shout out a number. You're going to be right. It is higher than 80. Keep going. Do I hear 90? Keep going. Do I hear 100? 100? Just a little bit lower. 99? Just a little, you're so close, you're on fire. 98.6.
So is it like human temperature?
Body temperature, right? That's where we function. That's why the bacteria love us and we get sick. So what do we try to do to ward off a bacteria? What happens when you get sick? What do you get? You get cough. When you feel really, really bad, what's happening? How about a fever? Okay? I'm feeling really hot, feverish. That's your body trying to get it up out of that zone. You've got all this stuff going on. Your white blood cells are trying to fight it off. And the way they do it is, okay, bacteria, you liked our body at 98.6. How do you like us now? We're at 102. You know, I'm feeling pretty bad, but that fever is a way of trying to boost or kick out the bacteria and basically tell them, you're not welcome here, get out. Okay? So this whole thing, the reason why you have a fever is to push it up to make sure that you kill off the bacteria, because you're also getting your white blood cells, everything is activated and ready to go. So important stuff that you have to know, but that bacteria loves 98.6, the ones that are pathogenic to humans at least.
And so when food is frozen, the bacteria, does it typically die off, or is it just frozen as well?
Just think of it this way. Freezing, think about the CDC.
Okay.
How do they preserve
Okay.
the nasty stuff?
We use like
Right? We freeze it. Because it's not like us. If you put me in a freezer, I'm going to die. Okay? No doubt about it. No suspended animation here. But for bacteria, they have the uncanny ability to go into suspended animation, right? So it's sort of like freeze. And they're stuck there. And they're just waiting for the right temperature to come back out. So that's how we preserve all the nasty bacteria. The CDC puts them in a deep freeze. The worst thing you can do to a bacteria is put it up above the temperature range. Lowering it just freezes it in motion. It doesn't kill it. Okay? There's a lot of researchers that want to figure out how bacteria can get re-upped, because think of it. If you have an ailment, it's like science fiction, right? If you had something that was life-threatening, we could freeze you until we figure out how to cure you, and then we bring you back and we cure you, right? That's all in science fiction stuff. But there are actual researchers that are trying to figure that out, because bacteria has this ability to just stay frozen, and then they just reanimate and come back to life.
It's like the premise of all the horror movies where it's like excavating on Antarctic.
Yeah,
Like a week-
exactly. And then they unearth some creature
or-
that's been laying dormant for all these years. It's usually a bacteria. Doggone bacteria, boy, I'll tell you. Fun stuff. Okay, so how do we prevent the danger zone? We get things in and out. So when you see people in a restaurant, they're portioning it back out, taking it from a large pot, putting it into cooler pots, and they're stirring it to try to release heat because they want to save it for later. So we're gonna chill it down and get it nice and cold. She's got a ice bath going on there to try to get the hot temperature down before they put it in the refrigerator. So the last thing you want to do is put it in a plastic container because plastic keeps the heat in and it's very, very deep. So you don't want to do that. You want to, thin it out so that it can go into the walk-in. Adequate cooking of foods. So there's a burger that's a little bit pink in the middle, right? That is not good for me. I would never serve a burger like that. And the chicken or the turkey is 160. Now, 165 is what kills salmonella. 5 is what kills E. coli. So if you look at the temperature scale, poultry and stuffed meats, either microwave cooked foods should all hit 165. Ground beef and ground meats 155, and eggs and seafood and fish at 145. So, and then you can hold it at 135. So the whole thing is, how do I get this thing out of the danger zone, right? So we talked about cross-contamination. I just kind of gave you a demonstration with the water bottle, so we won't go into that. Food from an approved source, right? So some of the food can look really, really good. Some of it looks really bad. This up at the top right, bacon wrapped hot dogs. They are my favorite. I love bacon wrapped hot dogs. And they had grilled onions going on. He had a little bit of jalapeno on the side. Awesome. But I could tell that this is probably not one of those approved carts. It's like a grocery cart that it was ingenious though. I mean, it had a propane tank, little mini propane tank on the back with a burner. It was the best design. I could give them an A for effort, but probably not legal because it doesn't have a hand washing station, right? You look for little hand washing, so there's no way for this guy to wash his hands. But they smelled so good. This was after a football game that I had gone to, and everybody was clearing out. But this guy, he was working hard, but it smelled really, really good. Some just looked gross. That was all this chicken in the back of a truck that one of our inspectors found. And it was covered with a tarp.
Okay.
So they just thought, well, it's going to get cooked. It's going to get cleaned off. There were flies all over it. It was pretty nasty. So we see some really bizarre things. Okay, imminent health hazards. So a lot of people want to know, when do you close a place? Well, you close them when there's a vermin infestation. This was at a restaurant. It had 9 rats in it that they caught on boards. And the owner was saying, oh, we don't have rats. And the inspector was going, got them all on these glue boards and stuff. It was bad. That was one down in South County. And then if you have sewage, or power outages or lack of hot water, why do you think you need to have hot water? Why is hot water important? It sanitizes. And if you ever think it, try washing your hands like greasy hands in cold water. It doesn't come off really easy, right? You like warm water and it kind of feels good. It's releasing all the dirt. That's the main reason we like warm water. Okay, and then operating without a health permit. If you don't have a health permit, no one inspected you, then I don't know how we keep your food safe. So anytime when there's a big investigation, look at how many people can get involved in this investigation, okay? We talked about contagion was CDC. You got the FDA involved. You've got police departments involved. You have the food industry involved. Our health officer for the county is involved. Department of Homeland Security. So if they're worried about terrorist threat, someone's trying to poison the food supply, then the Department of Homeland Security gets involved. The CDFA, that's the California Department of Food and Ag, so they get involved. CDPH, this California Department of Public Health, there could be health educators involved. There could be, there's one up there, where is it? PIO. PIO stands for our Public Information Officer. So that's the one that gets on the news and says, hi there. We've got an outbreak that's going on. It gives you the information, but they do it very calmly. Cool. They get paid a lot of money to, be cool on TV. I could never be cool on TV. I'd be okay, but I wouldn't be cool. So that's why I'm doing what I do. So I'm over here in environmental health. And when there's a foodborne illness outbreak, we talk to epidemiology, who talks to the CDC, and public health nursing, because of their outreach. These people are the unsung heroes. They go in and they get stool samples from families and stuff like that to try to figure out what's going on. And then our public health lab is the one that receives everything and tests it to see, is it really a problem or not? Okay, so we all work together. It's a big network and stuff, but you get to know each other pretty well. And it depends on the emergency. Some may have everybody involved. Some may only be 2 or 3. But it's pretty interesting how these all work. Okay, I'm gonna skip this. This is just a Council for Improved Foodborne Illness Outbreak Response. It just says all these people work together to try to figure out how the heck do we do it in an efficient manner and quickly, okay? Because if we're inefficient and we're not quick, then lives could be in harm. So I don't know, how many of you guys, do you all live in Orange County? Yeah? Okay, great. Y'all gonna be Titans? Is that it? Is that what you're hoping for? Is you want to come over and be Cal State, right?
Most of them will be starting here in the fall.
Awesome. I love this school. It's great. It's not just because I went here. It's a very, very good school because they do a lot of hands-on training when people like me that go into the field, okay? So it's not just about going to school. It's learning a trade and getting people in here to discuss what they do and help you find jobs after you graduate. This school is one of the best for doing that. So you made a good choice if you come here. So we've got a lot of public notification in Orange County that you guys can check out on your iPhones or whatever and stuff. We have seals that are posted up at our food facilities. They tell you if you pass or fail. We have inspection reports that you can look up online. We have a website with all this information. We give awards of excellence. So the really good food facilities, we try to reward them. We're not all the bad guys telling you what's wrong. This is all the stuff that's going right. And there's some very good restaurants that do a great job. And then we actually have a phone app.
I have a question. So I know in LA County, they do the letter system.
Yeah.
In Orange County, it's just pass or fail. What's the reasoning behind going with one versus the other?
Okay, that's an excellent question because if you look at a map, Orange County is surrounded by all the counties that do letter grading, right? So LA does it, San Diego, San Bernardino, Riverside, and it's just lowly little Orange County that doesn't have a grading system. We believe that the grading system doesn't work. It works for school. It does not seem to work for food safety. You want an example? I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you an example. Oh, you're gonna help me on this one. You go to a restaurant. Let's say we're in Los Angeles. They have an A on the door. Would you eat there?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. I would too. I go to another restaurant. They've got a B on the door. Would you eat there?
I did.
You did a B. You're a risk taker. Excellent. All right, I like this. So a B is good, huh? Okay.
Oh no.
Now you go
No.
and you got this whole line of A's and then you got your one B that you just ate at. How about a C? Would you go and eat at a C restaurant?
Probably not.
Probably not.
How desperate and hungry are you?
How desperate and hungry
That's
is
the
become a
question.
game, right? Okay, so which one is the bad restaurant? See, not really. Because if it's open, that means the health inspector just said, you know what? You got some problems. You got some problems with the walls, floors, ceilings. Maybe in a poor area. It may be in an economically challenged area. They don't have enough money to repair the floors because guess what? The things that I'm concerned about, Did any of you guys on the CDC risk factors that we talked about, food temperatures and everything, did any of you see anything about floors? And good quality floors and stuff like that, and sparkling brand new places. They all look really nice. We all want to eat in one of those. But I will challenge you this. Those restaurants that have a B, that B you ate at, there's a lot of research going on that says that B is safer than those A's. Because think about it. If you're told by the health department to clean up your act, I'm going to put a B up there, do you think they just go, and then keep on going? No, they're trying to work really hard and clean up so they can move their B to an A because they know they're losing money if they do it. Are actually probably a little bit safer than A's to eat at. A's, they sometimes get complacent, but it doesn't tell you about true risk. If it was really bad, we would close them down. So this is why I think that you either do a pass-fail. You can't say that something is a C and you wouldn't eat at it because according to their website, A's, B's, and C's you can eat at. It's just that there's a little bit more things that are gone wrong with a C. There's nothing proven that that is worse for you. It's really, really weird, and it's a hard sell. But we've sold it here in Orange County because I really do believe that it can be really. I mean, okay, how many times have you gone to LA or any of the great 18 counties? You walk into the restaurant and go, there is no way this can be an A. It looks so bad. There's no soap in the restroom. There's stuff all over the floor. They must have been paying off the inspector to get that A. Have any of you guys gone to one of these places? I've gone to some and I'm like, there's no way. I laugh at the A. I'm going, there's no way. Places. I can smell pesticides from the cockroaches and stuff. And they got an A in the window. Oh, one place I took a picture, I didn't include it. It was in LA and someone had smashed a cockroach up against the window with the A in the lip. That was the best. If I was really being a funny guy, I would have sent that to like one of the late night shows or TMZ or something saying, check this out. This guy didn't get away. Here's your A grade and a cockroach right on top of it. So think about that. Just use your good common sense when you go to these restaurants. Feel confident that you've eaten at a B or a C or an A, but always look around and make up some of your own lines yourself. Or go onto the websites and check it out. We even have a phone app that you can pull up on your phone and see the inspection report and everything to let you know what's going on. Okay? So here's our seals. Okay? Pass, reinspection, and close. It's simple. There's no A, B, C. It's just either you pass or we come back. You still pass, but we're going to come back and check to make sure that you're educated enough because it was a repeat violation, or you're closed. There is no gray area in Orange County. You're either safe. If our inspectors put either of those two up on the window, it means it's safe to eat there. If they wouldn't want their own family eating there, it's closed. And we close it down. Here's our pass seal. And it just means that they did really good. They may still have some violations, but they did really good. There's a reinspection that says, you know what, there were a lot of little problems maybe and a couple big problems. We want to come back just to make sure that we got it corrected right then and there. But we want to come back and make sure that it stays corrected. So we're going to come back in a week just to make sure. And then the closure seal is like because they had bad things like cockroaches, rodents, sewage overflow, all that stuff that they got closed for.
Tasty.
Right? So I gave you some numbers, right? There's like 15,000 food facilities in all of Orange County. That's the open food and the prepackaged food. We inspect, could be let's say two times a year. That's 30,000 inspections. Guess how many closures we had last year? About 400. That sounds like a lot, but percentage-wise, out of 30,000, that's not bad. We also allow for owner-initiated closures. So if the owner just comes up and says, you know what, it's sewage. We shut the building down because we saw it was sewage and we called you. We want to reward them for doing the right thing. I don't want to just stick a close sign up on their window and make everyone think that they were bad. So we have it on our website that says, you know what, these operators really care. Things happen, okay? So they did the right thing by closing it though. And then food facility inspection report, we've got these really cool inspection reports up on the web. And they've got everything that's in and everything that's out. All the stuff in the red up there is bad. All the stuff down below is just your normal maintenance stuff. And they may have some cleaning the floors and everything, but every single inspection report is available. You can look it all up. You name a restaurant, we could get on the internet right now, we can look up. Where did you guys eat today? Did you eat on campus?
They at the gastronome.
Oh, the gastronome, okay. So we don't inspect here on campus because it's a state facility, so they do their own inspection, but if you go to your favorite place, your family favorite place, go and impress your family by showing them what the restaurant is. You can learn all sorts of cool stuff on the website. And here it is. There's our website, and we have restaurant inspections. You can click that on, and you can look up any restaurant in the county by its name, and it'll tell you exactly what is going on with it. So we have our marketing guide there, but this is what you get. You come on to ocfoodinfo.com, and you can have a routine inspection. It'll tell you the dates that our inspectors were out there, and if they either passed, or they failed, or they closed, or whatever. It's pretty cool. And it'll tell you about, hey, the purpose of today's visit was to do a routine inspection, and these were the issues we found. But guess what? There are no red ones here, right? The reds always come first. So this place is pretty good, whatever the name of this place is. Pretty good, pretty good. And if they're really good, they're going to get an award of excellence. That just means they didn't have any major violations, which is really, really good. We like to reward them. We posted up, all the award winners are also posted online as well. And then we have restaurant inspection apps. So you can look at any of the same information that you can do on a computer, you can do it right on your phone. By going to OC Food Inspections, you can download it for free on an Android or on your iPhone.
That's cool.
Pretty cool stuff. And you can search, or you can find restaurants around you too. So some people use this to go, find me the nearest Starbucks. They put in Starbucks and, oh, you guys like Starbucks, I can tell. Oh my gosh. The 2-for-1, they had happy hour over at Starbucks a couple weeks ago. You can get half price Frappuccinos. Very good. Find stuff around. And then if you really, really, really are negative and you really just want to see all the bad stuff, I know how you guys are, because we get asked this all the time. What's the worst place that you've never eaten in? We have all the facility closures too. Everybody gets a kick out of those. Oh my God, that guy said it was an electrical problem. Yeah, and it was rodents. They lied. So funny. Okay, so what's the future trends for inspectors? This is something you don't even need to know, but ROP, reduced oxygen packaging. They do this. A lot of manufacturers do it. You probably have eaten ROP food product. Any stuff that's in the cellophane or the shrink wrap or the vacuum seal that you have to open up and it kind of like lets air in, that's vacuum sealing. And the great thing about it is it prolongs the life of the food. It takes all the oxygen out, and oxygen creates lettuce to wilt and everything. It creates all this problems of the food not to look as beautiful and pretty as the food could be. So what they do is they pull out all the oxygen and it preserves it. The bad thing about it is the most harmful bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella, they're anaerobes. You know what an anaerobe is? You ever heard the term anaerobic? Aerobic means there's lots of air. Like I'm doing my aerobics. I'm breathing in and out. I'm getting lots of air going into my body, right? And anaerobe means without air. So the bacteria grow better in this environment, even though it looks beautiful. And the spoilage bacteria would normally warn you, you can't tell from this it's masked. Okay, if the bacteria is present and it's E. coli or salmonella, you wouldn't be able to tell. Chicken looks perfectly fine, but it may have it in it. So the advantages are it extends life. The concerns are there's no more spoiler alerts, right? No spoiler alerts. The spoilage bacteria, you open up the package and the thing is spoiled, you're going to be going, I'm going to dump it in the trash. I'm not going to eat it. But the extended shelf life benefits things like Listeria bacteria, which is not good, and CBOT, Clostridium botulinum, which causes botulism. Okay, so very, very bad bacteria can reside when you've got vacuum packaging. So there's different ways to handle it. Okay, so this is one of the programs I'm most proud of. Is I was talking to you about McDonald's a little bit about like 30 minutes and they throw the food out. We don't like waste. We want food safety, but some people are so hysterical about food that they think, oh, when in doubt, throw it out. Name the foods that you cannot eat after the expiration date. Which one? What is it? Wings? Like chicken wings? Okay, so chicken, you can eat it after the expiration date. You can. Any other foods?
Milk.
When you look at a package and you go, it's 2 days after, it's 1 day after the expiration date. What foods have you thrown away? Dairy. A lot of people throw dairy. My own kids, who are supposed to be knowledgeable about food safety, they look at it and go, Dad, I'm not drinking this milk. It's 1 day and it's past its expiration date. I'm going to get sick. It's not good.
What is that chunky milk after the expiration?
Oh, chunky milk, I'll never drink it. Because chunky milk can happen before the expiration date, right? If your refrigerator goes out and you don't keep it at the right temperature, it turns sour very quickly. So the expiration dates is just a suggested manufacturer, except for baby food and infant formula, because they want to make sure the babies get the nutritional value. Because the nutritional value can go down after an expiration date. But it says on the packaging, best if used by and all this other stuff, right? So we have to educate a lot of people about expiration dates. Milk, chicken, it's okay. And they actually have apps that will tell you how long after the expiration date the food is still good for. So part of my program that we have is Waste Not OC. And it was created by our health officer, and it's to increase the awareness to address food hunger and insecurity. So we try to take foods that are left at schools, like at high schools, there's a lot of waste. There's share tables, but some of those janitors, they come up at the end of the school lunch and they just dump it into the trash can. Okay, we think that is a shame. There's a lot of hungry people out there. And so our health officer said, we need to make up a coalition, and they have me on the committee just to help as the food safety referee. So some people will go and take it to extremes. Oh, I want to have those chicken wings, but I want to eat them a month later. And I'm going to say, a month? That's a little old. A day, okay. 2 days, okay. After that, you're pushing it. But that's because I know my food safety, right? So they ask me a lot of questions about it. So the Waste Not OC is a pretty cool thing. So that's what we're getting involved in as well. And normally we're known for our food safety inspections, not to help the needy and the homeless. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're trying to reduce it, and it's probably a good thing too, because our landfill, even if you don't feel like a civic duty to help the hungry or the food insecure, you want to just try to reduce the green, make our planet a little bit more greener. Okay, some more things. We have cottage food. These are the incubator kitchens. These are cool things. If you don't have enough money to start a restaurant, you can rent a restaurant and you can cook some of the food and then take it out and then take it to farmers markets or other things. Same with cottage foods. You can make non-potentially hazardous foods at home, like cookies, bread, and stuff, and sell them at markets if you have the right permit. So we're trying to help people with that as well too. The mobile food facilities we talked about, these are all your carts, catering trucks, ice cream trucks, we inspect those. We have the wholesale plants. These are the guys that make big batches of stuff. And now it's time for the quiz. It's time to be the
Like,
inspector.
no.
So, there's a violation here, and I pointed it out by the arrow. And that's because the guy's got a glove on, but he's got all the saran wrap wrapped up his sleeve, which means he's not using the utensils. Sure.
Sour.
Sour cream. Oh, sour cream is my favorite. It lasts 1 month. 1 month as long as it doesn't get moldy and you don't temperature use it. It lasts up to a month because the sourness of the sour cream is already some of the, it's gonna gross you out, right? A little bit of the sourness is from bacteria that's creating more of an acidic environment. So that cream started out as kind of like the liquid stuff and it hardened up because of bacteria. Yeah, cheese does the same thing. Blue cheese, people who love blue cheese, you're eating mold. Let's face it, guys. It's all moldy cheese, but it's good moldy cheese. It's a little acidic because the fungus that's growing on it is good fungus. So good. There's good bacteria too. Hey, yogurt. Oh my gosh, yogurt's got so many bacteria colonies in it. If you put it under a microscope, you would be shocked. But it's all good for your digestive system. That's the good
Same
stuff.
thing with like fermented food and salted foods.
Yep.
Kind of same idea.
Yeah, fermented foods. If you like any alcoholic beverages or anything like that, that's all fermented, and it's all because of our helpful bacteria breaking down stuff and creating alcohols because of it's taking sugar and transferring it. So all of our traditional foods, all good. You're just trying to keep it nice and safe. So sour cream, it's okay. Yogurt, don't look close at it under a microscope. It's going to move on you, right? Not bacteria. It's okay though.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
right,
so interesting.
right? So it's just getting over your head. You gotta kind of go, okay, it's in there, but boy, does it taste good, right? I still eat blue cheese, even though I go, man, I could get really grossed out if I thought about this too much, right? Just like hamburgers. I like hamburgers, but it's gotta be cooked all the way. I still know where it comes from. You know, it's, and chicken, the reason why chicken was 165 degrees, if you didn't notice, it's the highest temperature because of salmonella. Most chicken has salmonella in it. It's like 70% of all the chicken you get. You go home, you go to the grocery store, it's gonna have salmonella. Gross, I'm not gonna eat salmonella. So what do? I cook the heck out of that too. And it's the highest temperature on there because salmonella is harder to kill. Food can gross you out, but it's okay. You gotta eat it, right? Some of it tastes really good, so.
Like
Wow, that's okay, I like going off topic.
like Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Love it.
thinking.
Love Korean barbecue.
Because I always like I don't really know when the chicken's cooked. So
Yeah, I got
wake
food
up
poisoning
in the
from chicken and Korean barbecue.
and it's- But like the beef and like pork is kind of a lot easier to
But then again, who
process,
orders
so,
chicken and
like,
Korean barbecue? Me? You do.
I don't know, like little.
So the best thing I can tell you about food temperatures is
Like
you don't
star.
want to stick your finger in it and go, that may be done. You don't want to guess. Best thing to do is have a thermometer.
Really?
Should the
I do.
restaurant have it?
I am such a nerd, you guys, I am so bad. Okay, we went camping with this group and we're all making burgers, and the next night some other families had chicken and stuff like that. So the first night we got to cook, and it was like, I want to say it was chicken. We were making chicken tacos, right? So we're making up all these batches of chicken. So as we're grilling it, I have my thermometer.
That's
I'm out of work and checking all the chicken. This is at a campsite, you guys. It's so nerdy. And people are looking at me going, what do you do? I go, I'm using a thermometer to make sure the internal cooking temperature of the chicken is okay. Oh, really? And so they start asking me, I go, yeah, it has to hit 165 or, salmonella. And they go, oh,
165.
oh, you're such a nerd, Mike. Oh my God, I can't believe you. The next night when they had to cook, hey, Mike, do you have that thermometer? They totally dig my thermometer now. Now they ask me when I'm going on camping trips, hey, you're gonna remember your thermometer, right? Oh, I carry my thermometer everywhere. You don't think I do?
Oh my God, I love it.
I come
It's
prepared.
there.
I come prepared. This is the granddaddy of all thermometers right here. Okay, so it takes temperatures, and this is what I use honestly on camping trips. Can you imagine? Hey, so nice weather we're having out here and stuff, and I'm just checking the thing. All the other campers are envious of me. They thought I was a
I
nerd,
think my uncle that.
but I'm not. I'm a cool. I'm a cool camper now. Oh, you don't have a thermometer? Well, you're not cool. I'm telling you, good stuff. Carry it in. See, I like it.
So when it comes to places like Korean barbecue where the patrons like we cook our own food,
Yeah,
the risk is then placed onto the customer, right?
just like you were cooking it at home. So that's why on Korean barbecues, if I cook it myself, we just burn the heck out of it. It's just not good. My wife does not like my cooking. It's dry and it's a little bit boring sometimes. Every once in a while, like I said, I'll try it with the thermometer, but make it absolutely perfect, but I don't want to ever get my kids and my family sick. But Korean barbecue, it's tough. The chicken is very hard to tell. Unless you cut into it and then really look at it, you're like going, boy, that's a tough one. So, but I don't take my thermometer to a restaurant. That would be a little awkward. What are you doing? I'm just checking my burger before I eat. But I will always look at my food. If I bite into something, I'm going to look at it, and say, I've returned lots of food because it's been pink. Like I'll tell them, well done hamburger from my son. Okay, he's in 6th grade. If it comes back even a partially pink, it's going back, and I'm going to say, hey, you need to cook this till it's well done. There's no reason why it came back a rare hamburger. He's just a kid. I don't want his immune system fighting off the E. coli or something. So it's just risk. Okay, you guys, where do you think a violation is? If you walk in and you see somebody mixing the food up, you already know something's wrong here with the glove, like with the saran wrap and everything. What are the violations you think is on that picture? My arrow's going to come, my yellow arrow will come out and show you the way, but I want to see if you can guess it. If you're an inspector, what would you write about? Is that counter? It's a little bit dirty, but you know what? It's probably spilled a little bit. No harm, no foul. Now if it was all black and gooey, not good. Good. Okay, so here it is. He's drinking while he's just drinking his own personal coffee or whatever. And you can't eat and drink while you're making up the food because you can cross-contaminate it into food that's intended for the public. So no smoking, no eating, no drinking while you're in line, unless that had a lid with a straw in it and you can keep it down below. So if it gets really hot in the cook's line, you want to then be able to just reach up and drink from it, put it back down so it doesn't spill onto the counter surfaces, okay? How about this? Which one is it, the bowl? Oops. Well, it's a salad underneath, okay, because you got raw chicken right above it, but you're absolutely right about the bowl. Because that bowl is going to get used, it's probably going to be just like that water bottle going back and forth and cross-contaminated. How about this one? Perfect. You guys are getting good at this. Medicines. And it's next to, stuff that they're going to use for condiments for to go and everything. Oh, that one. Well, there is one. Yeah, you got cockroaches all over the place on that one.
No.
They love hanging out in cardboard. Because cardboard, the glue in the cardboard is made out of animal fats a lot of the time. And so they find a food supply, and it's dark, and it's a nice safe area for cockroaches to breed.
What's the worst that you've seen like cockroach infestation in like, your career?
The worst I've ever seen came from a market. We were doing an inspection, and we knew there were cockroaches because there were like literally cockroaches everywhere. You just shine your flashlight. So in addition, you got flashlights like this, okay? And these things are pretty bright, right? So you go up in the corners. So an inspector goes up in the corners and looks, and the cockroaches, they have a giveaway, I tell. When they're light, they have like little light sensors on their antenna. And when they sense light, they start wiggling. Okay, so you could walk up and you could not see them because they look like hairs, but the minute you flash a light on them, they start wiggling. They almost tell you, hey, I'm here, and stuff, and you're like, oh my God. So I walked into this the market, and they were like literally all around the perimeter. I mean, you walked into the building, and you have that sense that like everyone's watching you. They were everywhere. They were like around me. So I'm trying to find some to like take as evidence. And they had this box, and one of the guys that was with me said, hey, there was one that just ran over by these boxes for the tubes, for the light tubes, right? So those sleeves that the tubes come in? Okay, they had some empty ones there. I guess they were trying to save the bulbs or whatever. There was one that was empty, and I took my light and I looked down, and there were thousands of all these antennae. It looked like a cave of all antennae. And so one of the guys goes, we need to get a sample of this. He goes, let me get a baggie. We'll lift it up nice and carefully, and we'll put the baggie on one end. And he goes, and then we'll spray a little bit of the spray, inspector spray, at the other top end. And guess what? They'll all come down in the bag, and then we don't have to chase them around. We did that. It looked like a jackpot out of Las Vegas. Everything, all the roaches started falling in this bag. We filled up an entire, it's like Ziploc baggie full of live roaches. Entire bag. It was the grossest thing I've ever seen. They were crawling everywhere. And of course, we have to transport them back to our office.
You had an air mask on,
evidence.
right? Like,
We didn't think it was that bad. Honestly, when I sprayed, I couldn't believe how many were coming out. They were all going in the bag, and I went, oh my God, zip it up quick before they start going everywhere. And that was the one place I walked out, and I'm like stamping my foot because I was afraid. I could feel it. I was like going, this is gross. We closed that place down. That was the grossest I've ever had in cockroaches.
Have you ever seen a rat infestation?
Oh yeah. Grossest, I was just gonna say the grossest thing, the most scariest thing I ever had was a rat. So I'm going through this place, and I could see rodent droppings, the little round droppings everywhere. So I'm going through, and I'm trying to figure out whether there's a hole, something, and I'm walking, and I'm crouched down. So like this is your cook's line, right? I'm crouched down like this, and I have my flashlight like this, and I'm like looking, and I'm trying to see where is the hole. And I come like this, and there's a hole, and a mouse's face was like right at my level. I went, oh my God, and it was dead.
Oh,
But it was like, it must have got stuck in there and got cooked or something. And I went, whoa. I almost fell backwards all the way. And it was the grossest thing I've ever seen. I'm like going, there were rodents everywhere. Sort of like that one picture I showed you. They're everywhere.
what has been like an unconventional like vermin? Like, because we hear about cockroaches and rats. Like, what have you seen that's kind of been like, whoa, this is very different? Or
So vermin, the definition of a vermin is something that's going to be able to spread diseases and everything like that. There's not too many more except flies. We get a lot of flies sometimes that we tell the restaurants keep their doors closed so they don't get flies in, because that's what flies do. They're going to come in with their food or garbage. The grossest thing is when flies lay eggs and they hatch. You know what those little hatch things are called? Maggots. Yeah, and they crawl everywhere. They're so sick. They're over the floor, and you've got a bad problem. Grossest I've ever had with that was at a meat market. I opened up because there were flies buzzing all around this slicer. Meats and everything, like in the butcher shop. And so they have a compartment or housing, and I go, it doesn't smell right either. I go, when do you clean this out? And he goes, the one kid goes, I didn't know you had to clean it out. I'm like, oh my God. So we opened it up and it was filled with like maggots and flies and they were all hatching. I'm like going, I'm gonna be so sick. So yeah, we get some really, really vile fun and stuff. Crazy.
So,
You guys are all into the gross stuff. I like it. I like it.
one of my friends worked at McDonald's. I forgot where she worked at, and she said, you know, like the popcorn ketchup. So she, after like she told me like I didn't want to eat like, anything that has to do with ketchup. Then, so basically, she said she suggested that I'll always ask for the ketchup packets now.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
while she was cleaning it, there's always flies coming out of that. Even if she tries to clean it every
I
day.
can imagine if they don't clean it, that could possibly do it if there's a lot of flies. Little cellophane package things.
Mike, also, sorry, this is so fascinating to me. You know how you mentioned Department of Homeland Security?
Yeah.
Which was also in the film, if you guys remember. You
Yeah.
mentioned. Do they like come out often, or is it just very seldom or
In the
never?
last couple of years, I've had them come out one time, and it was for what we consider was a tampering.
Oh, wow.
There's a synthetic cannabinoid. Cannabinoid is related to synthetic marijuana, right? And it's on the street name, it's called spice. So if they have spices of synthetic cannabinoid, and because it's synthesized, it gives you some of the properties of marijuana and having that high, but other properties, it reacts differently with your body, so it's very dangerous. It can shut down somebody's heart while making another person feel like they're totally euphoric. It's pretty cheap, and so what ends up happening was somebody had decided to put some in a bakery bread, and it was over the over one of the let's see if I got this one right. Which one was that? Okay, so they have in the Hispanic tradition, it's the King's Day bread, right? Where you have the Rosca de Reyes bread, and it's in the different shape, and they put in a little figurine of the infant baby Jesus that's in the bread. They bake it in the bread, and then if you find it in the bread, if you get the slice, then you're like, you've got special stuff about you. So it's to celebrate the Epiphany, right? So the wise men and stuff. And so there was a day when this Rosca de Reyes is baked, and we had a Santa Ana bakery where all of a sudden we had all these hospitals calling saying they had all the patients that were suffering from ages like 6 years old to 73. And all these heart palpitations, it was like a chemical thing. And then they tested it, it came back positive for this synthetic cannabinoid. So the first thing on a tampering is the police are involved. If health inspectors were good at figuring it out, but if somebody did it on purpose to get somebody sick, then the police get involved because it's criminal to do that. You can't, you may make a mistake and undercook somebody's, chicken. The police are not going to roll out with SWAT and everything because you undercooked a burger or a chicken, okay? But if you tell them that somebody tampered with this distributed product and put it in there, we got people in the hospital, you better believe they're going to come out. The reason why Department of Homeland Security came out is because they were worried that this was a delivery system that could affect, and they didn't know how big it was. Like, where did they get the flour to make this bread? Was it in the flour, or did someone put it in at the restaurant or at the bakery? They didn't know. So Homeland Security, man, they came out, and those guys are scary dudes. I mean, they started doing the interrogation of all the restaurant workers, and if you can imagine, what if you're just in there as an employee? All of a sudden you're like going, hey, I'm getting paid minimum wage, and I'm getting questioned by Department of Homeland Security. Oh my God, I'm out. I'll find another job. But it's pretty spooky when Department of Homeland Security shows up. It's not often, but in that case, it happened. That was a couple of years ago. It was right in January. It's like January 13th it was like the 9th because it's the 12 days after Christmas. So stuff like that, it's very interesting. I mean, one day I get up and go to work and I'm thinking, just a routine day at the office, and then I get that call. And all of a sudden it isn't routine anymore. We had news media, we had everybody all over.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know if it was, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but it was like in Tokyo, there was that poisoning,
Oh yeah,
Shigella or something, or the toxic, maybe, I don't know what it was.
Yeah. there were people
And the
that
food.
tried to poison like salad bars.
Yeah.
Las Vegas, there was a ring that was busted there. Because, you go to Vegas, you've got to have a buffet, right? There's buffets all over the place. But they busted up rings, and they did the same thing with ricin.
Oh, right.
Ricin was a manufactured from a plant, and it's easily masked into food. That's very poisonous if it's weaponized. So the Department of Homeland Security is all worried about that because dogs don't normally sniff that out. They sniff out the artificial stuff, but the natural, killer stuff. Someone was trying to weaponize Clostridium botulinum. Very, very poisonous chemical, right? That's produced in toxins.
So crazy.
So when we get these weird things that happen, I'm telling you, that whole thing goes into action. I mean, it goes from one day, you can go to bed, everything's fine. Next morning, you can come in and have Department of Homeland Security coming up.
Are they just like officers or how?
Yeah,
Agents?
they flew everybody out. They had the West Coast office, and they were all very concerned. The FDA was here, the CDC was here. I mean, it was crazy. But since we're local, we're kind of like in charge until they tell us not to. So we have right of entry and everything. It's very interesting stuff, you guys. Health inspections. It's the new CSI. They love CSI, right? Because someone started the TV show. I was telling one of my workers today, I go, we need a TV show called Health Inspectors. I go, we would have people lining up for days and years. And the great thing about the job too is if you want a job, a lot of people when they get out of college are all like, oh my God, I gotta find a job, right? It's pretty easy to find in environmental health. It's a growing field. I mean, it's probably one of the most growing, and if you like doing this stuff and interacting with people and caring for people, I can go home at night and feel like I did a good job. It's not one of those jobs that you just dial it in for 8 hours and then just turn it off. You feel like you're impacting the world and people. So if you're into helping people, this is a great job to have. So this is the boring part of the thing, plan check. But some people like to be an architect too, so they would love plan check. We get to see some really cool things.
Wow.
That's the indoor wave. So if you go to the Great Wolf, did everybody know the Great Wolf has got like this hotel that's in Garden Grove that is a massive, it's the world's largest indoor playground type thing, where it's all inside this hotel. And they've got slides, they've got everything, and they've got this wave pool. We got to see it before it was even, water was put in it. And then, they created this whole Disneyland inside this hotel. It's called the Great Wolf Lodge, and they're all throughout the United States, but we have the largest indoor swimming pools, and their pump room was something massive. Normally you go to a little pump room in a pool, like going, oh, look at the filter and everything. You go into this one, and it's like, oh my God, it's like 2 stories high. It was crazy. I've never seen stuff like it, so. And then we do pool safety. That's one of our inspectors, Celeste. She was taking the water chemistry and stuff. We make sure that all the life and the safety stuff is out to prevent disease and accidental injury. Again, you feel like you're doing something like protecting children, which is a pretty cool thing. You get on your pool. You got a duck. There was a duck swimming in this one. You go, okay, this one's closed. You can't have a swamp. Fix your filters. That's not good. We go into jails, and just to make sure the jails are inspected and everything is clean and sanitary. We do org camps. There's not too many in Orange County, but there's a lot in LA and everything. but we have like 2 or 3 work camps here. Childhood lead poisoning prevention program, again, one of the most important ones of our program. Anybody like Star Trek or Star Wars or anything? These things look like phasers, you know, but they're the XRF machines. They take the samples that will tell us if there's lead in the soil or any environmental conditions. So you get to really, really make an impact on people's lives, get things cleaned up. There's all sorts of lead sources of poisoning. It's in toys, it's in candy wrappers, it's very bright. It's in imported pottery, or it's in deteriorated lead-based paint. Water quality program. Everybody wants to work in water quality because you get to go to the beach every day. Right? There's other things there's the ocean water protection program. Tammy, this girl Tammy, she loves her job. Look at the smile on her face. She loves her job. Why? Because she gets to do this every day. Okay, she goes, takes water samples. She the other times gets to go out on the boat and go with the harbor master and stuff. That's kind of fun. Go all up and down the coastline of Orange County. They compile the water samples and then they tell us if they've got, water that they have to close the beach for. And because we got sewage spills, we respond to that because of the close proximity of our beaches. We don't want that going into the water and close down beaches. Then we have to do beach closures and stuff. That's not as fun. But we post them all up and we post warning signs. If you see these, don't go swimming in it. You'll get swimmer's ear or surfer's ear, whatever they call it. And we get beach information. So we list all the beach informations. If you want to know closures or anything, you can go to ocbeachinfo.com and get a whole map of all the beaches and their status.
From your experience in Orange County, which ones are consistently really good to go to versus ones that are kind of you should avoid?
Baby Beach down there and the Dana Point, any of them that have protected harbor type things, they're usually because you don't get the fresh water flow. If they have a creek that's coming down it, I wouldn't swim outside the mouth of a creek because again, people upstream are, they dump stuff into the creek sometimes and stuff and it gets out right to the outfall. So I try to stay away from the outfalls and stay away from coves. So Laguna Beach area is kind of tough until you get out past the point and then you get fresh water that kind of, always rushes in. That's what I would estimate it at.
So what about dog
No, as long as the dogs don't go in the water and they don't think dogs move, everybody moves.
So how is this, I guess,
So in those areas, they do have some protected areas of where they get to clean up. So they don't want the dogs, they create a beach area where they can contain it. But you kind of, again, you gotta love the dog and know that you got feces that are in there and stuff like that. There's not much you can do.
Is Huntington Beach usually good? Because I usually go to Huntington Beach.
That's where we're going on Friday.
Okay, and they're going there too, so.
OCHCA and all the way down, and I've camped at OCHCA, and they have an inlet there, the estuary.
Mhm.
You go in there, you see some really grimy, grungy stuff that's stuck in there that hasn't gotten to the beach, but that's usually a good beach. They don't
Okay.
have many.
That's good to know.
Any of the densely populated, when they had the surfer competitions at Huntington Beach, they had to close the beach at one point. And it was because of a sewage spill and it had gone down and they tested high coliforms. So they closed it and everybody freaked out. But for the most part, Huntington Beach is pretty good.
Okay.
Okay, cross connections, that's just making sure that the potable water, nothing gets backed up and goes in. So they've got all these valves. So if it's hooked up to a business and the business has a back pressure that tries to push back on this, these valves stop it from going into the potable water, the main supply where it goes into our, all the other service connections. Well permitting, not too many wells in Orange County anymore, but if you do, you drill down, you get into the aquifer, you got a well. Liquid waste hauling, so the people that pick up the sewage, they have to be inspected because you don't want them going to the woods or out in the canyon areas and just dumping all the sewage back into the canyons, right? So there's a lot of people that try to make money on that. So we try to manifest and inspect whatever's being picked up and it's being treated correctly. Coupa, okay, so this is our hazardous waste program. Darwin here is doing a chemical to make sure that things were labeled correctly as waste and that they are stored far enough from each other so sometimes they don't react. They help a lot with the fire departments. And then we do surveillance. So we go and check behind things and stuff and look to see if they're barrels, and if there are barrels of waste, what kind is it? They have pH meters and stuff, sort of like how I have my stuff, but they have all sorts of testing equipment. So what is a hazardous waste? It's anything liquid, solid, or sludge, ignitable, reactive, or corrosive, or toxic. And you can see it does a lot of damage to the plants and everything that are there. And it can really, really mess up a great neighborhood, cause things like cancer and things like that if you contaminate it. And the reason why the program came to being was back in the 70s, people were just dumping waste wherever. There was no program, nobody like us that inspected it. They were putting things in the landfills thinking, we'll just throw dirt over it and it's okay. But then they found out there's pollution and there's cancer causing agents in some of this. So, you know, they have people like us to make sure that this doesn't happen. So we do a lot of education. So we try to get the kids while they're young and try to explain, like, you know, whatever you dump down the drain, oil or whatever, it goes right to our oceans. I mean, there's just no hiding it. So you want to treat it, handle it, recycle it if you're possible, and educate people not to do it. So there's lots of educational campaigns on it. We go into the big factories where they do plating shops and stuff, making sure that their equipment is okay to protect the workers, and that they've got things separated okay. We don't have fires and stuff like that. That we don't have stuff being dumped down and right into a sewage drain. And you can tell by some of the chemical markings what chemicals there are, or if there were leaks, like the one up there. That they make sure that they identify what it is, because if they don't know and someone picks that up and puts it into a regular dumpster, that won't be a good thing. It's a hazardous waste. It has to be treated, you know, differently. We get drug labs, you know, that meth labs and stuff like that, where they go ahead and they find all these unknown liquids or things that make some of the chemicals that can be real flammable. So our guys go out, they'll check it out. They have their regular, these are guys in their SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. So they've got masks and everything on. These guys are fully encapsulated. These things get so hot too. I've worn one of those before. They are amazing how much sweat you come through on that one. Okay, underground storage tanks. So all your gasoline, everything you get are going to be these tanks. If they leak, not good. It will go down into the water and foul the water in the aquifer. So we issue permits on them, and we do complaint investigations on them as well. Above ground storage. So there's these units that are going out and they have placards and stuff on them. Propane, you know, when you go for camping or you refill your propane tanks, a lot of those are above ground.
So does the EPA put out guidelines for your
Yes.
specific division? Is that what you're?
EPA works with us especially on these. So they are the ones, the transportation, the EPA come up with a placarding system to show all the different levels and the hazards, but they have all sorts of guidance, like how far you should step back, what enclosures are up there for safety, what kind of safety valves are on these things, so they don't explode or have an accident. You'll notice there's a lot that have these pylons that are all around. These have to be a certain depth and sunk into concrete because they don't want a truck or a car to lose its brakes or whatever, plow into it and explode. So these are barriers or safeguards around them, so they kind of put bumper guards on them, right? Okay, this is Dean Freed. He got up on the poster. One day I'm driving down the freeway. I'm driving down the 55. I look up, I go, oh my God, there's Dean up on a bullet trail. So sometimes, and you know, I told Dean, I go, you've got a good face for a billboard. I've got a great face for radio. So you don't want me on the bulletin boards or anything, but Dean, he looked like he was a mechanic. He was out there and stuff. And so they were trying to impress upon people, don't let it go into the beaches. Don't let it spoil. Universal waste. So these are all your silver amalgams from your dental offices, your cell phones, your batteries, your fluorescent light bulbs, all this stuff. They don't want to go into the regular landfills. They want to treat it, see if they can recycle it. And what they can't recycle, they have to make it more inert, and so it doesn't go in and start polluting even our landfills. Because our landfills still will leach down into the aquifer and pollute our water below where we get our water and drainage. And our local oversight, so when we have abandoned, these are all decayed and rotting. So the other ones are made out of plastics and they're double walled. The old ones were just single walled and metal, so they corroded and leaked like crazy. So when the guys would abandon the petroleum gas stations and stuff, they'd leave all this mess and we got to clean it up. So our local oversight program does all that. And solid waste enforcement agency. So we go out and check on the landfills to make sure they're covering it up every night with 8 inches of dirt, because we don't want birds or other animals getting in there and dragging off, the garbage somewhere else. We also do the testing to make sure that there isn't stuff that's contaminating with below the ground. Medical waste, so all the stuff you get at the hospitals and stuff, all the needles and stuff, it all has to be autoclaved or put up to such high heat that it just absolutely destroys any kind of pathogen. So we just make sure that they're collecting it, and they put them in these red bags. These red bags have these little thermometer things on them that if they get to the right temperature, they'll turn a different color. So that's why it allows us to know if they sterilized everything properly or not. Body art, this is huge now. So all the tattoos, the piercings, everything, they just want to make sure that, someone inspects it to make sure hepatitis C isn't passed along, because a lot of it's subdermal. The piercings that go on now, or the implants, they'll go all over the place. They're just everywhere. So we have guys they go to the trade shows, and they get to see the most interesting stuff. You talk about pictures, they're crazy. It's wild.
Mike, so because a lot of piercings and tattooing happens in the jails, and I know the sheriffs oversee that. How does the agency, what kind of clout do you have in that realm?
We do have whoever comes in to do the piercings,
No, I mean, people tattoo each other and pierce in jails. Do you all have any say over that, or no?
We know.
Oh,
They're not licensed. They shouldn't be doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're incarcerated, they could get, I guess, sheriffs could come in, but we don't do anything. We just try to do the educational outreaches. If we know that that's a problem, then we're going to educate on it to say that's not a good thing to do. But some of these guys that do get incarcerated in the prisons, they almost look at it as a badge of honor, and so to get in there and try to, we try as best as we can, but some people are just shrugging off saying, no, I'm too tough for, they don't care about hepatitis C and stuff. But you try to keep going with education and stuff to try to prevent it. But it should be done by a licensed permanent application of cosmetics. That's the kind of law that it goes under. So we just want to make sure proper sterilization and needles happens. Okay, so this is the last slide I have. It's just environmental health touching lives every day. So I hope you guys got to see that everything here, whether you go to school, we're there. Whether you're at the farmer's market, we're there. You take a drink of water, we're there. You've got the gas at the gas station, we're there. Your oceans, and you go visit any of that, we're there. I mean, I just challenge you to think where it doesn't touch your lives, okay? So here comes my pitch to you. If you get into environmental health, if you decide this is it for you, that you may want to become an inspector, one, there are incredible opportunities for you, okay? You're going to have a job as soon as you get out of college, for sure. This is just a program that keeps on growing. Some of these things we didn't have 10 years ago, now all of a sudden we have them. Guess what? marijuana legislation's coming through. They want our department to look at all the food and the edibles.
Oh, wow.
We now have to have probably another group, which means I have to hire more inspectors. Where are they gonna come from? They're gonna come from the schools. You guys are gonna have instant jobs if you do go into environmental health. It's worthwhile. I tell people it's a noble cause, okay? You can't find that sometimes at a 9-to-5 job. But environmental health, we care about the environment, we care about people. If you love people and you love doing something fun, this is the wildest stuff you're ever gonna get. Look at all the programs that we have, okay? If you don't like food and doing food inspections, it's okay. Get your experience, move over to hazmat, move over to water quality. That's the fun part, is it keeps it alive. You're not stuck in a rut of a job. And what I tell my class that I teach in Cal State, I said, intern and see what you like. And whatever you do, don't waste your lives just sitting in a job just because it's a job. You should love what you do. So if you have any passion for this at all, I'd highly, highly encourage it. There's so much stuff you can do. And if you don't like that, if you like money, okay? Once you get your experience, we have, and I mentioned Starbucks, 2 of our best inspectors, they went to go work for Starbucks. They're quality assurance people for Starbucks. I see them every once in a while at the, these symposiums and stuff, and they're doing really, really well. They're helping to shape Starbucks. But I also see it for In-N-Out Burger. Any food place, any big place, Disney has got 3 of our ex-inspectors working for them, okay? So they decided that, you can either branch up and go to work for the CDC or the FDA. You could work for the state. You could stay within the county like I've done, or you can go and branch out to private industry, okay? There's all sorts of dimensions. If you like doing that stuff, it's kind of like CSI, only without the TV show. We're gonna get a TV show. So I want to know, we've got some time here. We've answered questions along the way, but what do you want to know? Is there anything you want to know about? Well, let me ask you, how many of you guys now can say, you know what, maybe I'll consider being an environmental health specialist and being a health inspector? Okay, far better than what I got before, which was 0. I got the majority, you guys. That's awesome. So, you can get excited about this program. It's good. It blends community health and like I said, some of the things that I loved about community health and health equities, you hear those terms thrown out, is that you get with environmental health. Especially with the childhood-led, you're helping families and small children, which is probably the most noble thing that you could do. So I highly encourage you to just take a look at the field and see what you think. When you take a class here, you're going to have opportunities to take some electives. Take a look at an environmental health track. Dr. Kim here is the one that teaches the environmental health track program. He's come down and done ride-alongs with us and everything, so he gets to know our program a little bit better. And I took classes from him when I got my MPH right here on campus, 3-4 years ago. So, good stuff.
Any questions?
Give me some questions. Give me some really good questions.
And kind of like what Mike said, if you decide to major in health sciences, there is a track, environmental occupational health and safety. So you can specifically focus in this, and maybe you'll see Mike later on if you're an intern for the county. So
we hire you.
We're
hiring right now. You guys got to get your degrees, but we're hiring. I'm telling you, it's the best job opportunities you can get. Let me tell you, for me, I did not go into college my first year, and I didn't even know what environmental health was. I didn't even care. I was looking more towards biology and maybe I'll get into business, and I didn't know what to do. Okay, it was only until about my 3rd year, and it was because of an instructor. One of my teachers just said, you should really check this out. And it was right. I saw him too. He still teaches at Cal State. He's a lot older and I'm a lot older. So I got to see him. I said, Dr. Coleman, it's me. I got a lot fatter and a lot grayer, but it's me. And he's like going, oh my God, and I
I go, you're the reason I got into environmental health. Because he came out and said, you would love environmental health, so I tried it out. But I didn't go in. I didn't have any preconceived notions what I wanted to do or anything. But it's great. It's the luckiest thing I ever got into. It's complete luck I got into it because of a good teacher. So.
Good question for
Yeah.
you. What kinds of qualities make for a good environmental health specialist or professional?
That's an excellent question, because we get asked that a lot. It's not how smart you are, it's if you care about people. I can teach you, as I've told people that are coming in, I can teach you the science. I can teach you the nuts and bolts of how to do an inspection. That's easy to do. What I can't teach you is your heart. If you love and care for people, this comes natural. It's like community health, right? You're doing things. The reason why you're in the health profession, or you're even here today or thinking about it or talking about it, is that whether it's contagion, you see the ugliness of it, the business side of things, right? That's not so good. And you see people selling out because they're freaked out and everything like that. But the fact of the matter is that public health is a very noble cause. We try to level the playing field with health inequities, right? And there are some people that have better access to quality health and some that don't. The nice thing about my job is that out. Whether it's an expensive restaurant or it's a mom and pop restaurant, we treat everybody the exact same. And we try to help educate them the same way too. So if you care about people and you care about, the livelihood, you get to know these operators too. I mean, we always go, oh, well, the health inspector's here and they all run. I don't think most of them run anymore, not from our inspectors. We're pretty friendly group. We're pretty approachable. So caring and approachability. Because if people can ask you a question and they don't feel intimidated by you, chances are they may listen to you. And maybe if you care enough to do it over and over again, because I don't think I'm going to win every battle that I go into. I'm not going to be able to clean up some of the places spick and span, but I give them their props. You guys are doing a good job. Hang in there. How's business? That's the first thing I ask my operators is, how's your business? How's your family? How's everybody? They automatically know. I'm not just there to help keep it. That's my job. But my real true ask is like, how are you guys doing? Are you happy? Are you making enough money? Have things going? Oh, well, and they'll tell you about their cat, their dog that they may have had to put down. And you sit there and you put your clipboard down, your thermometer, so you don't freak people out, and you just listen to them. So you care, and you listen, and you're approachable. If you are any of that, you can be a health inspector. I can train you to be a health inspector in a couple of months. Easy to do. But I can't teach you those skills that you have internally. You have to answer your own question on that. How do you feel about it? Some people go, well, extrovert, introvert, it doesn't matter. Our best inspectors, some of the best ones that come up with some really cool things, like, our inspectors came up with, so we had these really boring hand wash signs, right? They were black and white. They were awful. They looked like they came out of the 60s and there were bad graphics and everything. So we talked to our inspectors and stuff and said, hey, come up with some really cool, creative hand wash signs. Okay? So instead of just making one, we have 3. Because if you switch them out, it's sort of like when you go to McDonald's or something and say, collect all 4. Well, our inspectors go in and go, have you gotten our new one? And it's all off the artist. So this was Andy Warhol. So any of his works, you can tell because they have vibrant colors and it's all in a quadrant type form. Okay. This one was Paul Glaser. He was really big in the 60s and 70s with the psychedelics and stuff and the really bold colors against a black background. So we made this one up. It says, clean hands, what a bright idea. Instead of just the regular stuff, right? And this one was my personal favorite because it's cool. Okay, Saul Bass. He is an artist that does the James Bond movies. He does the action heroes, the Marvel comics, like all the screens for the Avengers and everything like that. He's really big on shadows and color and stuff in the forefront with a shadow in the back. And I like it because I helped design this one. It says, you never know what lurks in the shadows, right? So kind of creepy. But in the background, it has all this, it says the words say illness, disease, sickness, infection, and everything. So while the hand looks kind of clean, if you don't wash it properly, these can still be hiding in the backs of your hands and stuff. So this is why we need you guys. You're young and creative, right? Some of you are more creative. And it doesn't take an extrovert to do it. Just take somebody that has a good idea and we'll listen to you. So stuff that you can do and you can feel proud about doing. So not too many jobs can do that. Ain't paid.
Awesome. So can you all join me in giving Mike Haller a round of applause?
Oh, I'm just happy you guys, I'm just so happy you guys really, really are interested in public health. That makes me happy. It's something that I've loved to do all my life. So you'll be happy with it. Stay with it, okay? I encourage you. And you have my contact information.
Yes.
If any of you guys ever have any questions as you're going through your schooling, you need any resources, I can be that.
Are you
for
on LinkedIn, Mike?
I am on LinkedIn. Yes, I am. Search me out there and send me a friend or whatever you
Add
do
a
with
connection.
LinkedIn. I don't Facebook you guys. I'm so terrible. But you need anything, you let me know and stuff. I'd be more than happy to help you out.
Awesome. Just
What's this?
thank you card.
Oh, you're so welcome.
We really appreciate you coming out and sharing your passion and educating us all.
Sure.
Both Chad and I have taken environmental health classes in our MPH programs, but this is definitely taking it to another level.
Yeah, so
applying
cool.
it to
So cool.
the everyday. Thank
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, anytime, you guys.
Any last
Right.
questions? Any last questions?